So this video is titled The Future of SMRT Circle Line, but I'm not really gonna be diving into the stuff that you all already know, like the stuff that has already been publicly available. But I want to talk more about the stuff that you may not know, stuff like timetable of the Circle Line, like in general. But before I go into detail, I just want to put out one thing. Please, 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 for the love of God, do not compare Circle Line and JR Yamanote Line. They are completely different in terms of dynamics, and I will just briefly explain why. The current Circle Line it starts from Harbourfront and it ends at Dhoby Ghaut, and then there is a branch to Marina Bay. This is like currently. And Yamanote Line in Tokyo is more like a diamond-shaped line, and then on the western sector there is it is like parallel to Kein Tohoku Line, but it is still separate. Yamanote Line is a closed loop with no branches at all. And in a few years' time, the Circle Line will be closed up. But even after it's closed up, the dynamics are still completely different. If you want to talk about train lines that are actually similar to SMRT Circle Line in Japan, I have two examples. The first one is Maru no Uchi Line, which starts from Ikebukuro and then goes to Tokyo and then branches off at somewhere near Nakano, and then there is one branch to I think it is Ogikubo, and then the other branch is like to Nakano Fujimicho and Honancho. So as you can see, these are branches with through service. So there's Ikebukuro to Ogikubo, and then there's also Ikebukuro to Honancho. They are through services, just like SMRT Circle Line. And then the other line that's similar is okay, it is a lot to write, but it's Musashino Line. Musashi is basically what Tokyo used to be called in the olden days, Musashino Line. And Musashino Line is similar. It starts from like Nambu Line, which is like Fuchu Honmachi, and then it branches off at Nishifunabashi. One goes to like Kaihin Makuhari, and then the other one goes to Tokyo. And again, both of them are through services. Although Musashino Line isn't entirely like a closed system or anything, so I would say Maru no Uchi Line is actually more similar to Circle Line than Musashino Line. But you can take it generally that there are two lines within Greater Tokyo that resemble the current SMRT Circle Line and not Yamanote Line. I'm going to repeat again, not Yamanote Line, so please stop comparing them. So just a brief overview. Circle Line was supposed to be completed in 2006, but 2 years ago in 2004, there was a really unfortunate incident that delayed the entire line's opening. You can research about it. It delayed the line's opening to 2008. And in 2008, Caldecott and Bartley, the section in between, it opened. Like it opened in stages. And then the next one to open was like Dhoby Ghaut to Tai Seng and then Bartley. Stuff like that. But years later, like basically in the future, when the Circle Line finally becomes a circle, it will become the first ever train line in the world whereby it is a circle in addition to a connected branch line. And then Dhoby Ghaut would become the new branch. Not a disconnected branch, it's a connected branch, and I'll explain to you the three different types of services. So the first one is anti-clockwise loop. It's endless basically. And the second one is clockwise. And the third one would be Dhoby Ghaut to Prince Edward Road Station. So what I mean by this is that Dhoby Ghaut, it will go to Promenade and then it would circle all the way around and then it would terminate here and then it will go back again. So right now, the main services will be anti-clockwise and clockwise, whereas Dhoby Ghaut to Prince Edward Road, the so-called like short working trip, I mean not really, but you kind of get the idea. They are currently deliberating on either 1 in 3 trains or 1 in 2 trains. I do not remember which one they chose or whether it's like 1 in 2 during peak or 1 in 3 during off-peak. I am not sure. But what I am sure about is that the total capacity of the line when it becomes closed is 87 trains. But in reality, the actual maximum number of trains as according to timetable is actually 84. And this number over here must be a multiple of 4. And the reason why it's a multiple of 4 is because to ensure that the frequency is still like even in that sense. So to put things into perspective, if you withdraw a train from the clockwise loop direction, like into Kim Chuan Depot, KCD, you would also have to withdraw a train from the anti-clockwise direction. And this goes for train launch as well. If you launch towards the anti-clockwise direction, you would also have to launch to the clockwise direction. Did I mix up the directions? But okay, you get the idea. And the reason why they do this is because Circle Line is like it's like a first of its kind in the entire world, and the timetable, it has to be designed in a way such that it fulfills this. Now on to the numbering. So if you see any particular train carriage, like train car from, the older train models, like the train sets, you would see something along the lines of like, say this. So 8 is for trains running on the Circle Line, even though like internally they don't really use this digit. And then this one is the car number. So the middle 2 digits in between is basically the train set number. And it's simple, it's just PV40 in this case. It's not like Northeast Line whereby they have something along the lines of like 7047/7048, and then you take the even number, the larger number, and then you divide it by 2 and it gives you like PV24. But this is only for Northeast Line. For Circle Line, it's simple. It's just 2 digits that denote PV. Because Northeast Line is like 2 train sets coupled into one entire 6-car length train. Whereas Circle Line, it's 3 cars only, And this is the same for Thomson East Coast Line. It's 4 cars only, and the entire thing is just one train set. And for all automatic lines, GOA4, grade of automation level 4, they all use PV. So in this case, PV40. And for the new trains, they actually have an additional digit, like an additional 0 in front. Let's say 80791. So the same rules apply. You ignore these 2 digits, you ignore this one as well because it is a car. When you're trying to denote the set itself, you still follow these 2 numbers. So in this case, it would be PV79. And I think the reason why they added the 0 over here is maybe in future, when the numbers, like you might get something like 81012, maybe it's like PV101 or something along those lines. I'm not sure how they're going to do it in future, but yeah, they basically standardize every single one of the car stickers into 5 digits. But that's not really how you denote the train set. To denote the train set, you just denote using PV. That's all. It's quite simple. And for North, South, East, West line, it's just 3 digits / 3 digits. But that one is GOA3, so that's different. But again, the main takeaway of the video is that if you withdraw a train set from the clockwise direction, you have to withdraw from the anti-clockwise as well. And the same goes for a train launch. You launch into the anti-clockwise direction, you have to launch into the clockwise direction as well to maintain frequency. And if you're wondering, okay, this is just something extra, but if you're wondering how Circle Line's frequency compares to the rest, I'm just comparing frequency, I'm not comparing the dynamics of the line. Circle Line, the best I've seen is like 2 or 3, and then off-peak it's like 6, I think. It's the same for Yamanote. 2 minutes or 3 minutes during peak and 6 during off-peak. Marunouchi is 2 during peak, and off-peak you might see 4, 5, or 6 depending on the time of the day. And Musashino is, during peak hours, the best I've seen is 5, but typically it's like 10 to 20 minutes or 15 minutes in general. So the Musashino's frequency, because of the branching, it's typically quite horrible. So yeah, it's not like Japan's trains are any better or what. In this case, Singapore ones are actually better, believe it or not.